This topic, you will learn how to define supplier categories. Now, the supplier category defines default settings applied to suppliers, saving you data entry time. Now, some of the defaults that pass through are credit controls, statistical groups, order and delivery restrictions, and financial details. A few other benefits include using the supplier category to group and generate reports and view inquiries for multiple suppliers. You can also automatically generate supplier IDs with assigning a sequence counter. This helps eliminate errors in assigning supplier IDs. And finally, each supplier is assigned to a supplier category, which is required. And also, any changes made to a supplier category after the supplier is defined are not carried forward. Let's take a look at defining a supplier category. You have a group of new suppliers that you have an agreement with. Now, the agreement includes credit, order, and delivery restrictions. This allows you to define a supplier category with defaults that would apply to all the suppliers. Now, to do this, we go to Common Data, we go to the BP's block, and Supplier Categories function. You can see all the categories that have been developed. To create a new category, we click New. Now, this category is going to be specific to the U.S. So we enter the category ID, the description, and a short description as well. Now, in this miscellaneous section, there's a sequence counter number. If we enter a sequence counter number, it allows us to be able to use this number to automatically generate supplier IDs. This eliminates errors, but in this case, we won't use it. As you can see also, the defaults come through for the country, the language, and the currency. This is from the parameters that were defined earlier. Now, you also have the supplier type. Most suppliers are supplier type normal, which is our supplier type. However, if we're using miscellaneous, this is a non-reference supplier. When selected, a window automatically displays prompting for entry of the address. If we're using prospect, this is type supplier. The selection order is not authorized and only entry of requests for quotes is possible. A prospect can become a standard supplier also. You also have the currency rate, which can be daily, monthly, average, or custom. And we'll keep it at the daily rate. There's not going to be any exchange in this case. And of course, there's statistical groups. Of course, this is an optional field, but assigning suppliers to a particular group for reporting and analysis is possible. They can also be used to control sales and purchase pricing. Each supplier has 5 groups, and each group can have many possible entries, which are determined in the setup of the statistical group. We'll go ahead and select our statistical group. Our suppliers are related to computers. We'll select several different areas that will assist us in generating inquiries and reports. And of course, there's credit control. We decided that we wanted a check, and there's a credit authorization for each of them that they will give to us of $500,000. And next, we go to Commercials tab. Commercials tab in the Order area is where you apply the order restrictions, including the ABC category, which is kind of discussing or basically allowing you to have the suppliers by level of importance. Also, threshold for freight, minimum order, multi-line order, acknowledgement reminder of an order, and also delivery reminders. You can also have price list structure where you can enter to price products for a supplier, and also matching tolerance where the amount that you've ordered, you can set the percentage or amount that it can be over or under when receiving product. Unavailable dates. In the delivery section are dates that the supplier is not open, could more likely be holidays. We also decided on the carrier that's going to be used for this supplier as well. and the mode of delivery for the supplier too. The Incoterm area is for international freight. We decided that the due date is going to be the invoice date when issuing. The discounts and charges section has to do with the percentage and amount that can be billed on a purchase invoice. And invoicing elements, which are set up in a different area, can be on the footer of the invoice. And then we set up the financials area. The financials area, you select the accounting code for financial transactions, which we'll go ahead and enter that information here as well. Other than financial transactions, you can use an account structure to determine that. Also, you can enter a tax rule. Also, the 1099 section. Here, you basically select the form that you're going to use and the box for the 1099s. You can exclude or include tax on transaction, and we'll exclude. You also decided on payment terms that you would actually have for the group of suppliers. And also if it's paid early. There's a default bank where all the suppliers will be paid out of. And the analytical section allows you to enter default reporting units for transactions. On the ranking tab, you can use this area for ranking of the supplier, where you can enter a lead time, price factor, quantity factor, also the quality factor. And also there's a free field that you can use for, which is user-defined criteria that you can use for it. Example would be on the quantity, that we've ordered a certain quantity, and how often do you receive that certain quantity. Now we've completed everything, and now the next thing we do is create. Now where is this used? Supplier category is used to create the supplier. So going into the supplier, if we're creating a brand new supplier, each category goes in this field, and the defaults would come through, not only in the commercials tab, which is the order control, receipt control, discounts and charges. The management tab was the miscellaneous area where we have the supplier type and the credit information. And also the financials tab as well, where you actually have the terms come through and also the accounting code. And the ranking information actually flows through as well. And now you've learned how to define supplier categories and how the supplier categories allow you to set some default settings that saves time on data entry.